Dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. It is e-content project under the National Mission on Education through IT. I am Professor Seva Singh, retired as Head of the Department of Library and Information Science, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. Today, I am going to talk about the module on biographical sources. This module is under the paper Information Sources, Systems and Services. The objectives of biographical sources are to define the biographical sources, to identify types of biographical sources, both in print and online form, to describe their utility, and to evaluate these sources. The phenomenal growth of literature in various fields of knowledge necessitates the use of some of the types of essential reference and information sources. These include documentary sources and non-documentary sources. Biographical sources of information describing the lives of important persons are documentary sources. If we look at biography as such, it can be defined as the information about a person's life or details about the life of a person or a written account of another person's life or the one which gives you a complete account of his actions, activities, career throughout his career lifespan. On the other hand, an autobiography is written by the person himself, herself, and sometimes with the assistance of a collaborator or even a ghostwriter. Biographical reference sources provide information about people who are well known, their birth and death dates, and description of their lives and accomplishments in their field. There are two basic types of sources: sketches or essays. Both of them contain biographical information about well-known people. There are also indexes which refer the user to other biographical sources than the one we talked about. There are so many uses of biographical sources. In reference surveys particularly, the primary sources of biographical material could be like this: to locate information on a person, living or deceased, to locate people who are famous in a given occupation, career or profession, to locate supporting material about an individual, to locate a person's possible name for the baby, to determine that the user has the correct person if there is more than one person with the same or similar name. There are so many categories of biographical sources available in the library. These include biographical dictionaries, encyclopedias, almanacs, directories, yearbooks, handbooks and manuals, periodical and newspaper indexes. Some of them include, not all, include the biographical information. The choice of any source depends upon the type of query of the user. On looking at the types of biographical sources, these can be grouped by period. For example, there could be current biographical information sources and retrospective biographical information sources. Grouping is also possible by geographical area, such as international or universal sources of biographical information, national sources of biographical information, regional sources of biographical information, and local sources of biographical information. Grouping by subject. For example, persons in sciences, persons in social sciences, persons in humanities, and so on. Grouping by gender. Those covering men in their respective fields of achievements and those covering women in their respective fields of achievements. Sources for biographies of contemporary people are known as current biographical information sources. These include international sources, which include such sources as International Who is Who, Current Biography, which is a monthly source published by H.W. Wilson, while International Who's Who is annual publication and has been with us since 1935. Among national sources can count such sources as India Who's Who. It is published from New Delhi by INFA since 1970 and includes about 5,000 living persons. Another example is that of Who's Who in America. This is published by Marquis since 1844. It is published annually. Now it's in 3 volumes and covers about 30,000 people. Retrospective sources of biographical information could be grouped into international sources. For example, Chambers' Biographical Dictionary. Its 6th edition, published in 1997, was on its 100th birthday, and it has more than 17,000 entries in it. Webster's Biographical Dictionary covers about 30,000 people. National sources. For example, Dictionary of National Biography, India. This is in 4 volumes and is being updated by supplements. Oxford National Biography. Earlier it was known as Dictionary of National Biography, and so on. It's very important for the librarian to evaluate various biographical sources available in the market, because there has been increasing demand for biographical sources on the one hand and shrinking library budgets on the other hand. These two reasons at least necessitate the evaluation of biographical sources so that only standard and useful biographical sources could be purchased in the library within the constraints of the budget. Therefore, librarian must take into account some of the checkpoints. These include authority, which is very important as to who has edited a particular biographical source and who is the publisher, among other things. Purpose and scope of a biographical source is very important from the user's point of view, and also from librarian's point of view when he or she has to provide answers to various reference queries. Selection policy regarding the material about people who have earned their name in a particular field. What should be the criteria or the policy the editors must adopt so that a balanced approach is ensured. While preparing a biographical source, the readership or the audience of the sources must be kept into view. Similarly, length of entry, what is also called as treatment, as to how long the entry should be. This could be linked with the readership as well as the purpose and scope of the source. Another important checkpoint is the method of compilation, how it is compiled by the editors. Frequency of publication keeps the source updated or otherwise. Arrangement of the source is very important. Generally, from the convenience point of view, arrangement is in alphabetical order. Sometimes it could also be according to the subject or in some chronological order. Format of biographical source is another important checkpoint librarian must take into consideration. Also, now in view of the IT development, it should be taken into consideration whether the online version of a particular biographical source is available or not. And indexes to biographical source are so much important that they help to find out even bits of information about an individual covered in the source itself. Then some special features of biographical sources should also be taken into consideration, and above all, comparison with similar sources available in the market, so that neither all are purchased nor a bad one. And librarian must see as a matter of summing up the checkpoints or evaluation of a biographical source as to what else does it offer. Collection, development, and maintenance of biographical sources is equally important. The librarian has to prepare thoroughly for various biographical inquiries by considering book selection, updating and correction of reference books, compilation of user guides, general good management and maintenance of the reference collection. Biographical reference sources nowadays are available in both print and electronic versions. An important part of source selection and management while considering the relative merits of print copy with online or CD-ROM format, etc. Librarian needs to ensure prompt acquisition of the latest editions of current biographical works. It could be done either through standing orders with the publishers or book vendors, and even the librarian can contact the publishers directly if he feels it necessary. In the present environment of expanding networking sites, particularly social networking sites, it is experienced that sometimes these social networking sites also work as biographical sources of information. For instance, we can talk about Facebook, launched in 2004 by Mark Zuckerberg. It is an online social networking service considered very useful. On looking at the features of Facebook, we can see that groups are possible in Facebook, and it allows members with common interest to find each other and interact. Events as a feature allows members to publicize various events considered important in their lives. Marketplace allows members to post, read, and respond to classified advertisements. Pages as a feature allows members to create and promote a public page. Presence technology allows members to see contacts and chat. Another social networking site which a librarian can consider as biographical source of information is LinkedIn. It is with us since 2002-2003. It's a business-oriented social networking service mainly used for professional networking. Some of its features are: it helps to build up connections, it helps to find jobs, people, and business opportunities. It helps the employers also, who can list jobs and search for the potential candidates. Users of LinkedIn can also post their photographs. Users can see who has visited their profile page. Also, it serves as a useful source of biographical information about professional people. Twitter is another social networking site serving as source of biographical information. Twitter is an online social networking and micro-blogging service that enable users to send and read short text messages, called tweets. Another social networking site which a librarian can consider as biographical source of information is LinkedIn. It is with us since 2002-2003. It's a business-oriented social networking service mainly used for professional networking. Some of its features are: it helps to build up connections, it helps to find jobs, people, and business opportunities. It helps the employers also who can list jobs and search for the potential candidates. Users of LinkedIn can also post their photographs. Users can see who has visited their profile page. Also, it serves as a useful source of biographical information about professional people. Twitter is another social networking site serving as source of biographical information. Twitter is an online social networking and micro-blogging service that enable users to send and read short text messages called tweets. Blog. It's a discussion or informational site published on www. It is frequently updated website about a particular topic or person. Librarian may also compile biographical information of local persons in addition to what we have discussed earlier. These local persons could be famous in different fields of human activity. He should also do it for those persons who are directly or indirectly related to the parent institution. Such locally generated biographical sources are very useful from various users' point of view. On summing up what we have discussed in this module, we can say that this module gives the students an opportunity to know about the need as well as the objectives of various biographical sources. It describes documentary sources of biographical information in particular. The module also categorizes various sources. It gives types of sources by period, geographical area, subject, as well as gender. The module discusses the current as well as retrospective sources at national and international level. It also describes the latest social networking sites which are considered useful as biographical sources. On looking at the glossary, we can define some terms which need a bit definition from the student's point of view. Biography. Biography refers to a person who is the subject of biography. Biographer is one who writes a biography of another person. Biographical Dictionary. It's a collection of writing about notable persons, usually arranged in alphabetical order. Biography is defined as a written account of a person's life. Portrait is representation of a person made from life, especially a picture of the face of that person. Profile. It is where individual members share information about themselves, including their interests, job history, education, religion, policies, relationship status, favorite music, movies, and so on. Wall. This term refers to the members' most recent updates which are showcased, like photos, events, friends, etc. Dear students, with this we finish this module on biographical sources, which gives you a succinct account of and about various biographical sources required in a library from users' point of view.